Hello, aloha, and welcome to Tuesday Tips for Rockin' Relationships. Today I want to talk about something that influences all of your relationships at work, at home, romance, all of it. And I actually want to extend an invitation for you to join a free event that's happening tonight. Today is June 23rd. And if you're in Dallas, you can come in person, or if you're anywhere else, or you just don't want to be out in public right now because of the coronavirus, I get it. Then there is a Zoom link that you can access and you can attend virtually. So it is happening tonight, June 23rd, and the link is in this post. It's at the very top. And if you are watching this video on a replay, then don't worry about it. You can actually just email me and I can hook you up with either a replay of the presentation from tonight or a different one. So the event tonight is talking all about a very powerful class that you can attend. It's a 3-day class. I just spent all weekend volunteering in this 3-day class. It was my 14th time in the class. And it was powerful to watch dozens of people transform their lives in 3 days. I've heard this 3 days compared to, the equivalent of a year in therapy or 5 years in therapy, because it is an experiential class. It's not just lecture. You get to have an experience of yourself and your programs. And what do I mean by that? We're going to talk about that. So if you need information, you can email me there, or you can find my contact information on my websites. So let's see, let's jump in here. So I want to share with you, let's see, you've probably seen these images before. This is an image of an iceberg. And what we're going to talk about today is your conscious mind versus your subconscious mind. And the iceberg is a perfect representation because we think that we are running our lives, right? We think that we're running the show day to day, making all of our own decisions. When in reality, if you look at this picture of this iceberg, the piece that's above the water, the little piece of the iceberg that you can see, represents your conscious mind. This is reason and logic. This is what we think is making our decisions and running the show from day to day. However, there's another piece to our mind called the subconscious mind. And if you, again, look at this iceberg, all of the area below the water is our subconscious mind. It's much, much bigger. And also in this post at the very bottom of all the text that I've referenced a few articles on the subconscious mind, because it is actually the one running the show. It is the captain of the ship, right? So the subconscious mind is responsible for our heart beating, our lungs breathing, our sensory information that we receive. There's actually a lot more information out there that we, even just visually, that is available to us, millions of bits of information that come into our eyes, but the brain can only process so much. So everything that we see or think or have done is stored in the subconscious mind. All of our memories are there, all of it. So when we think we have a bad memory, that's not really true. We have a perfect memory. It's just about recall. So I actually wrote down a list. And again, I've referenced these articles, but there's so many things that the subconscious mind does. And this is what's really running the show. Breathing, heartbeat, our memories, storing and retrieving of all data. So again, everything you've seen or thought or done. It's monitoring all of the incoming information. All of our habits are stored into the subconscious mind. And that is where our actions come from. So our habits of acting and thinking, all of our beliefs are in our subconscious mind. Many of them we're not even aware of. And I'll talk about that in a minute. They came from childhood. So many of them we are not even aware of. Also, our subconscious mind keeps us in our comfort zone. So the brain's job is to keep us alive, not to keep us happy, not to help us reach our goals or our dreams. It's to keep us in our comfort zone. And everything that you want, your big goals, your dreams, the things that you're striving for that you don't already have, all of those things are outside your comfort zone. If they were inside your comfort zone, you'd already have them. So all of our big dreams and goals are outside of our comfort zone, yet our subconscious mind and our brain in general wants to keep us safe. So anything that is perceived as different is perceived as danger. Anything that the mind is already used to, same equals safe. So our subconscious mind wants to keep us safe, not happy. And it takes direction from the conscious mind. So this ties into the event tonight, where you will learn a little bit about yourself, and in the 3-day class that I'm talking about, which is the PSI Basic Seminar. And in that 3 days, you will learn more about yourself than maybe you have in a lifetime, because you will learn so much through this experiential class. Okay, so again, it's not just sitting down and lecture and notes. There is some of that, there's some theory, but then you get to have an experience of yourself. You get to have a big aha moment, a big light bulb come on, and then you get to look at what you discovered about yourself, something that you may have not even known. So, for example, 80% of our beliefs about the world are developed by the time we are 8 years old. 80%. So what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about other people, what we believe about the world, what we believe about money, 80% of these beliefs, which are mostly subconscious. This is not a conscious thought. It's not the tip of the iceberg. It's the body of it, right? So 80% of these are formed by the time we're 8 years old, and 95% of all of our beliefs are formed by the time we're 18. So think about that. Our mostly subconscious beliefs are running the show when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to money, when it comes to career. We develop these beliefs in childhood through our experiences, through what we see our parents model, or through things that happen in childhood. Now, an example that I like to use is if a child, let's say 3 or 4 years old, right? Mom and dad are fighting, and maybe they get divorced. The child, because they're not using their reason and logic yet at that age, they may develop the belief of, oh, if I was a good kid, they wouldn't be fighting. Or if I was more lovable, mom and dad wouldn't be getting divorced. So now as adults, we can hear that and think, oh, of course that's not true. You know, the parents didn't get divorced because of the child. And we know that to be true. But again, that's conscious mind level reason and logic of an adult. But our beliefs were not formed when we were adults. 95% of them were formed before the age of 18. And so if you want to find out what beliefs are running your life, this 3-day class is a great way to do it. And it's held in many different cities around the US and a few international as well, Canada, and then a few other locations. And to check and see what your beliefs are about money, about relationships, you can look at your results, because your subconscious mind is directing your life based on these unknown beliefs. And sometimes we call these programs. You know, think about a computer has got many programs running in the background, invisible to most of us, right? But they're running and they're keeping the computer running. So human beings have programs too. And these are the unconscious beliefs that we have. So in order to change these, the first step is to become aware of them. And that's what the 3-day class is about. And so I hope you can join us tonight for the presentation. Again, all of the details are in the post here. If you miss it, just email me. And the reason why I've done this class 14 times is because once you complete the class the first time, you are allowed to audit the class as many times as you want anywhere in the world that it's held. I don't know of any other personal or professional development company that allows that, free repeats for the rest of your life. You can also go back and be a volunteer staff member, like what I do. My volunteer work is with this company because I love to spend my time watching people transform. And I got to do that this last weekend again for the 13th time in my 14th basic seminar. I got to watch others transform and be a part of that and support that completely strictly as a volunteer. So if you come to the event tonight and you sign up and come to the class, I don't earn $1 or a dime. I don't get a toaster. It's about creating a world that I want to live in where people are more aware of their programs and are striving to change their lives and make their relationships better and be more successful financially and take better care of their health. It's all there. It's all covered. So just a few things that we do cover in the 3-day class. We go over specific ways of listening that are effective. So some of our beliefs are effective and some of them are not effective. They've created our success, but they've also held us back in the areas where we're not successful. And same with our listening skills. There are ways to listen to other people that are much more effective than the way we typically listen. There are also different communication styles. We often assume that everyone has the same communication style that we do. And if you've ever had the experience of saying something and having it land completely out in left field, someone completely did not understand where you were coming from, we do an amazing, really fun exercise, again, experiential with our groups on Friday, where we go over the different behavior styles and communication styles. And so that helps us to learn how to better communicate with 75% of the population, right? Because we're only, if there's the 4 different styles, I'm in one style of communication, one style of behavior, and it helps me to understand the other 3, which is the vast majority of the population. Again, we go into our subconscious programming. You get to have an experience of yourself over and over again through fun and simple exercises that we do all 3 days. It's a class in self-awareness. So awareness is the first key to creating change in our life. And if there's any change that you want, if there's any great big goals or dreams out there that you have, there could be change required to be able to reach that. Who do you need to grow into being to be able to reach your goals? So there's self-awareness all about that. There's some fantastic leadership exercises. I got to see how I showed up as a leader when I took this class, and I did not like it. It was a huge wake-up call for me, huge. And I was not a very effective leader with people. I was a steamroller. That's what I discovered about people. I steamrolled over people. This is it, my way or the highway. You might know somebody like this, right? My way or the highway. This is how we're doing it. If you don't understand, it's because you're not smart enough. And I didn't consciously know this about myself. I didn't consciously try to steamroll over other people who are on my team, right? But I did, and I discovered that about myself in this class. And so you may have a very different experience of your leadership style. And this is an amazing way to discover it. Of course, we go a lot into relationships because all of this communication work affects our relationships, the concepts of integrity at a very different level, your relationship to your word. You might think that you're good at keeping your word, but there may be areas where you're not as good as you think at keeping your words. So you get to have an experience of that and this concept of win-win, right? It's easy to say that. Win-win, sure, let's think about that, but you get to have some amazing experiences of that. So again, this is the PSI Basic Seminar, a 3-day class held in several places around the world. And I hope that you join us tonight for the presentation. Or if you missed that presentation, if you're watching the replay, then just email me and I'm happy to hook you up with a different presentation as well as a $200 discount for the class. So again, I love to see people transform. This philosophy for PSI is world peace, one mind at a time. And peace is one of my highest values in life. I want everybody to be at peace. I want everybody to be successful and healthy and happy, right? So that's what tonight's presentation will be about. And that is what the 3-day class is about. And by the way, if you go through the whole 3-day class and decide that you learned nothing, you get your money back. It's a very inexpensive class, very inexpensive when you look at all of the other personal growth industries. And it's got a money back guarantee. So you've really got nothing to lose. But if you go into this class open to learn something about yourself, you'll be floored at how much you can learn and how much progress you can make in 3 days. All right, so that wraps me up for today. Now for next week or for future weeks, if you would like to submit your questions about relationships, mostly is what I talk about. Personal growth work obviously fits into that. It affects all of our relationships. You can submit your question here, Q&A.empoweredrelationships.org. It's completely confidential. I don't need your name. I don't need your email address. And I broadcast every Tuesday at noon Central Time, as long as I'm not on an airplane or something, which in that case, I'll just put up a pre-recorded video. But I broadcast here on my YouTube channel. So youtubelive.barbarasalmeron.com is where my live broadcast is on YouTube. And I also simulcast at Empowered Relationships group on Facebook, which is called Empowered Relationships to End the Battle. So submit your questions. I'm happy to answer them. And I hope to see you tonight, either in person or on Zoom, or I hope to hear from you in the future. I am here to support you and your growth and your happiness in any way that I possibly can. So thank you so much for being here today. And I hope to hear from you soon.